There is a lot of space games out there. A lot of game developers had a lot of imagination when they were making arcade games, so many of the games out there were space games, or games that have giant bugs in them, and really the Atari was no exception to that. But if there's any game I remember, it's definitely this one, Yars Revenge. It starts out with the 1981 Atari logo on there, and it's the simplest a title screen could get for the Atari 2600. Okay, you're this bug thing that's flying around, trying to avoid projectiles. That thing on the inside is what you're trying to hit. By hitting the projectile in the middle, or hitting one of those red things, will target a missile at the left side of the screen. That's what you use to hit that thing in the middle. Level 1 is as simple as cake. That red barrier blocking you, you can easily just shoot it out. However, it gets more difficult as you progress through the game. That little dot moving around the screen, you can't hit that. That nice graphical force field in the middle is somewhere you can hide when that dot's annoying you, but you can't shoot when you're in there. So chances are you're not going to be hiding in there. The graphics are really good. I like all the flashing colors that are around me. I actually look like a bug, although I don't know what a Yar is. And there's actually a death animation in the game. When I get hit, I turn really small and then I explode. It looks kinda cool, but you can't see it on my TV. This is one of the early Atari games. It was advertised on commercials a lot, and it was a pretty popular Atari game. I'm going to throw in another game. Why would I review one Atari game? Next up is Astro Blast. It's usually the first Intellivision game that people play. However, this isn't Intellivision, this is Atari. It's very similar to Asteroids. It's actually kind of the same thing, except this time you're on ground, shooting the asteroids from above. Every time an asteroid hits the ground, you lose points. As for this port, I have no idea what's going on. I seem to have no control of my ship right now. I can't shoot these giant meatballs in the spot I'm at right now. Occasionally I might be dragged into the opposite direction. However, that's not going to help me when I'm trying to shoot these things. My best guess is there's something wrong with my cartridge. So really, I can't review this game. And that's okay, because I have more. Okay, next up, I don't know, let's try Star Master. And it's made by Activision, so it has to be good, right? It's kind of a cool 3D perspective kind of game where you shoot stuff. However, the controls are really bad. In order to switch to the map screen, you have to hit the black and white button on the Atari 2600 console, which is that little switch that switches the game either to black and white or color. So really, when it comes to this game, it's not really doing its job. It's kind of pulling a Mortal Kombat, for the Sega Genesis of course. Since there's not enough buttons to fight, the pause button is used to block. You see that moving dot? That's me. I can either go to a station, which brings up my gas, or I can go to one of the enemy's hideouts and shoot them. It's actually kind of refreshing to play an Atari game where you can actually move around instead of being on one screen and being stuck there forever. I like it. This is one of the big noses of adventure games. And it's kind of a pretty big jump. A lot of the times when you're not paying attention, those giant coconuts can sneak up on you. And even when you are slightly paying attention, it's still hard to make sure that you're going to shoot them. They're kind of quick on their knees. This game is not easy though. One blink of your eye and you're dead. I'll try Star Raiders now. It kinda looks like Star Master, but this one's made by Atari. Well, the title looks kinda cool. Just the fact that it has a logo is pretty cool. Not very many Atari games had them. A nice little 3D perspective, what could be wrong? Okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. I think I'm this red line moving around. But this blue line is not doing anything. Occasionally it might move up. But I don't know, maybe it needs a second player? I think I'm dead. Let's try another Intellivision game. Now this is one of the earliest Intellivision games. However, as I said earlier, this is not Intellivision now, is it? But unlike the other game, this one actually works. This game is Space Attack. This one's kind of entertaining. There's like 3 or 4 enemy ships, or squadrons, whatever you want to call them, that are trying to enter the middle of the screen, and you're pretty much sending 3 ships out to attack them. How do you send these ships are beyond me, but I managed to just press all the buttons and send a few out. You can move your ship to other enemy ships by pressing some button. And when you make contact with them, you have to press some more buttons in order to go into a war with them. Just press a bunch of buttons and hope you get into the war. Either you'll get into the war, or the ship will move somewhere else to another enemy ship. You know, because of the horrible controls. That signal is going off because the squadrons are almost at the middle of the screen. When they go to the middle, you're dead. It'd be more convenient if they weren't traveling while you were fighting. Okay, I'm gonna declare war on that guy right there. No, I said declare war. Come on, move back. Okay, finally. Uh-oh, there goes one ship. Ah, great, now I gotta declare war again. Well, at least it worked out that time. Ah, great, that signal's going off now. I gotta go quick. I'm so close to winning, I just got 1 squadron left. Oh man, this is not looking good. Oh man, I'm right there. I can declare war, but the game's not letting me. Come on, man. No! Darn it! I hate this game! No, not really. I mean, it's okay, but I hate the god-awful controls, though. After such a humiliating loss, I'm doing another game. Cosmic Ark. That was a pretty nice opening, nice sound. Now this game, I like. Each level consists of 2 parts. Part 1, where you shoot off bad guys in 4 different directions. And Part 2, where you're rescuing people for the Ark, while trying to avoid getting snapped. As you progress, it starts to get more difficult, and it can confuse you. It gets harder every time you complete a level, so there is a lot of replay value. The thing I like about this game though is, it doesn't have a life system. That life bar, that goes up every time you save someone. Usually it goes up to 100%. You lose a little bit when you die. The controls are very responsive. Everything moves the way it's supposed to. The controls are not really a problem in this game. The graphics are awesome. I was pretty surprised on how good the graphics were. I can identify everything that's in the game, from the sky to the mountains. This is one of those good Atari games. Any arcade junkie will know about the game Venger. I originally was not going to review this game, but I guess I will. Did they really have to trademark Winky in the instruction manual? Winky is the character that you control in the game. I think you already guessed that I'm that blue dot, and those orange things I'm not supposed to hit. Any stupid idiot will know that. So let's just get on to the game. These guys will go all over you. Half the time I can't even get out of where I started. Okay, well this looks kind of exciting. It's too bad that I move slower than the bad guys. That really sucks. Let me just show you all the times I died. Unlike every one of these games I have, these levels actually change. There's something different in every level. That may seem kind of surprising for Atari. There's not really much else I can say. Just collect the keys and move on. It's a pretty exciting game, and it's extremely hard. So that sums up this game.
Okay, this next game I'm going to review is kind of special. It's rare, it's expensive, worth a lot of money, and it's just your average Atari game.
It's called Quadron. I had talked about this game earlier in my ET review. It was one of those games that was only available in the Atari fan club, and it starts off with a pretty nice logo. Now let's play.
Quadron. Did it just talk?
Okay, for now on, anytime I see something surprising in a video game, I'm calling it the Quadron moment. The voice takes up so much room in the game. The screen is forced to be black when the game is talking. Anyway, you're the ship. You shoot these little projectiles. Your goal is to shoot these enemies as they go around the screen. Sometimes when you kill these enemies, these small ships called runts come out of the middle, and you're supposed to catch them. These projectiles you shoot, which are called phaser balls, once you shoot them out, you have to go to the other side of the screen and catch them. You only start out with 2 phaser balls. If you get hit by an enemy, or fail to catch one of your phaser balls, you officially lose a phaser ball. If you lose 2, the game is over and you have to start from the beginning. The imagination is just overwhelming. The whole point is just to save these people from the planet Quad, which has been invaded by these people called captors. But just look at it. This is a planet? Each wave has a different enemy. Level 1 is goons. Each one of these enemies does something different. The goons are just the normal enemies that just move down and up on the screen. However, the brats bounce off the walls, making them harder to shoot. Once you defeat every enemy in every wave, you're now at the last wave, which pretty much just loops. And in this new wave, all the enemies combined go at you, and the soundtrack changes. I forgot to mention that the voice gets higher pitched every time you complete a wave. Well, I just wanted to give you an overview of the game itself, before mentioning if it's good or not. So let's actually get into the gameplay. Aside from the storyline being really weird, the game is kinda just an abomination, which is not necessarily a bad thing for Atari. Every game was based off a concept and it was either successful or it was a failure. While games in our generation either have a weak point or they have a good point, like strong points, Atari games were pretty much just good or bad, because of the simplistic gameplay. I don't like how easy it is to lose. I don't like how the last wave repeats itself. But it is kinda cool to go through the game and see all the enemies that go around. And I really like the voice synthesis. And the graphics are pretty good. So I guess that sums up Quadron.
Quadron.
Well, that's all I have now. I just wanted to give you an overview of a lot of the space games that were around for the Atari 2600, and not all of them were necessarily made by Atari. However, there was a wide selection of games. There was a lot more than the ones I mentioned in this review. But before I go, there is one thing I should show you. Quadron is kind of a rare game to find these days. You might find it on eBay for like $100, if you're lucky anyway. But there are cheaper solutions for playing the game, and here's one of them. Quadron is available on the Atari Flashback 2 video game console, and I also played it on Atari Anthology for the PlayStation 2. The game is available for other platforms as well, and I've played Quadron on both consoles and I know that they're both legit, so I recommend giving those a try.